600 years, one empire fought almost nonstop. Kings, crusaders, rebels, rising superpowers. War after war after war. And yet, it didn't go bankrupt. Not once. Welcome to Hidden Leverage, where money, power, and history collide. Because the Ottoman Empire didn't just fight wars. It engineered a system where war could pay for itself. And that changes everything. Most people think empires collapse because they lose battles. They don't. They collapse because they run out of money. Armies don't march on courage. They march on cash flow. And the Ottomans understood this earlier than almost anyone in history. When the empire began, it wasn't powerful. It was tiny. Just a frontier war band led by Osman, a minor warlord surrounded by collapsing states. But they had one huge advantage: location. They sat at the crossroads of Europe and Asia. Every caravan, every merchant, every shipment of silk, spices, metals, and weapons passed through their land, which meant one thing: taxes. Constant taxes. Predictable taxes. Endless taxes. Before they became a military empire, they became a cash flow empire. But geography alone doesn't fund 6 centuries of war. The real genius was structural. The Ottomans designed something revolutionary. They figured out how to build an army without paying salaries. This was the Timar system. Instead of paying soldiers money, the state paid them in rights. A cavalryman received control over a tax district. He collected revenue directly from villages. In return, he had to buy his own equipment, maintain his own horse, show up fully armed when called. No payroll, no pensions, no massive military budget. The army literally financed itself. This changed everything. European kings had to constantly borrow money to pay knights and mercenaries. If they ran out of cash, their armies disappeared. But the Ottoman army never depended on the treasury. It depended on land. And land kept producing revenue whether there was war or peace. War became cheap, sometimes even profitable. But cavalry wasn't enough. The empire needed elite infantry. And here came their second controversial innovation: the Janissaries. Through the Devshirme system, boys were taken from conquered regions, trained from childhood, and turned into professional soldiers loyal only to the state. This was harsh, brutal even. But financially, it was genius, because the empire didn't pay the enormous cost of raising soldiers from birth. Conquered populations did. By the time they entered service, they were fully trained assets. Low recruitment cost, high discipline, maximum loyalty. Now combine this with geography, trade routes, state monopolies on essential goods, tribute from semi-independent regions, and constant expansion bringing new taxpayers. The result? A military machine that ran on its own revenue streams. For centuries, war didn't drain the empire. War strengthened it. But no system lasts forever. And this is where the hidden leverage broke. In the 1600s, the world changed. Trade shifted to the oceans. Caravans stopped passing through Ottoman lands. Cash flow shrank. At the same time, the Timar system decayed. Local officials abused power. Soldiers became unreliable. And the Janissaries? They turned into a political force, blocking reforms, demanding privileges, draining the treasury they once protected. Then came the fatal shift. Modern armies required something the Ottomans had avoided for centuries: cash salaries. And to pay for them, the empire began borrowing from European banks. Debt piled up, interest payments exploded, and by 1881, the unthinkable happened. Foreign powers took control of Ottoman finances. The empire that once funded endless wars could no longer fund itself. This is the real lesson of history. Empires don't die on battlefields. They die on balance sheets. The Ottomans survived 6 centuries because their system turned war into revenue. They collapsed when that system stopped working, because financial leverage sustains power. until the day it breaks.